Greetings and welcome to Spirit Speaks on the World Today. I'm Reverend Jim Webb. I'm the author of the book The Soul of Prosperity, as well as several other books, including 30 P's to Prosperity, Prosperity from A to Z, and Create Your Self-Manifesting Vision Board. I also do a great deal of spiritual counseling, guidance, coaching, and support. And one of the things that I've been doing in my 30 plus years of ministry is I channel a group of beings. These beings, known as the masters of planetary healing and transformation, are beings that work through me to support us all in our healing and in our transformation so that we can support the earth in its healing and its transformation. And channeling is no great mystery. After years of spiritual growth and development, after opening myself repeatedly through literally thousands of intuitive readings, I learned to just surrender my own consciousness and allow spirit to work through me. And that's what happens. So I tend to go off in a bit of a meditative, deep meditative state, and spirit tends to fill me with an energy, like an electromagnetic energy. I feel embraced, I feel ecstatic, I feel peaceful, and spirit then takes over when I relinquish control, and they use my verbal skills, my consciousness, my voice, obviously, to relay the words that approximate the energy that they choose to relay. Now, they are really relaying energy, so you may feel a sense of peace. You may feel a sense of comfort. You may feel just as much as you hear. And one of the things that may happen is that you may feel energy flowing to you. I certainly do. And electromagnetic energy, when it flows through a solid, creates a resistance. My body is semi-solid. So when this electromagnetic energy comes, you might find that it causes me to vibrate. You might find that it causes me to rock, or you might find that it causes me, especially my third eye, to wiggle or to vibrate in a very fast fashion. That's no big deal. It's just energy coming through. So, with that, I'm going to go out and see what Spirit has to say about the world today.
Well, before you do,
Oh, yeah. You can tell I was almost out, right?
well, yeah, um, yeah,
We,
this is. I'm Reverend Michael Mangus. I'm one of the staff producers here at New Thought Media Network, and Jim's producer. Yes. Um, so yeah,
we were joking before. I was trying to go out even before the show started. And
yes.
so,
I
so
said, we said no, not until we get going. Just to remind everyone that we are taking questions. We do have two questions here by from Reverend Jane Batt, and also one from Jill. And also, we will take your questions also in the comments. Please put them in there, and we will relay them as we have time. All right. Thank you.
all right. Thanks, Michael. Thanks for the save. Greetings. It is our honor and pleasure to work with you in this way at this time. We would suggest, first of all, that you take a moment to receive the light, the love, the healing, and the grace we would offer to you now. Just breathe and just receive. Just breathe and just receive. Just breathe and just receive. Good. And as we stated before, your human self believes that you and the earth, that you need God's energy, intervention, and light in order to heal the troublesome situations on the earth. And we have offered you a different perspective on this. For in truth, we need you. God needs you. For you are the bringers of light to the places on earth clouded by the darkness of the false idea that you are all separated from each other or separated from God. You are the bringers of light, and God needs you to anchor light through your own healing and growth and to anchor love. So, this is a differing perspective that we offered to you recently, and we would continue by offering you yet another differing perspective here. The core false idea that has plunged your earth into such discord is the false idea that you on earth are separated from others on earth. And this is simply an outgrowth of the core false idea that you all are separated from God, when in fact you are all a part of God. Even those that you view with disdain, disgust, fear, loathing, or even pity, you are all a part of the great light of God. You are all emanations and vibrations of the great light of God. You are all a part of the ray of light that is God, a unified beam of energy, of love. You have simply forgotten and believed that each individual particle of light, for you are all individual particles of light, You have believed that you are separate and not a great beam of light. And in this forgetfulness, you formed different camps. The reason you formed different camps is because you believed that you were separate from the source of life, the source of love, and therefore you felt threatened. You forgot that you were eternal and you felt mortal and threatened. So you formed camps for protection against a villain you believed to be outside of you and outside of your camp. You made up stories about an angry, vengeful, punitive God. You made up stories about, quote, the others, end quote. And these camps perpetuated, magnified, amplified these stories, making them manifest on the earth. And this has created certain points of turmoil on your earth right now. Democrat versus Republican, Ukraine versus Russia, the situation in the Middle East, the situation with China, the situation with North Korea, differing camps believing they are endangered as a reflection of a consciousness that believes it is endangered by a vengeful, punitive God. And this, though it seems threatening to you, is not true. So, how do you bring light to this? How do you bring light to this? Your first step in servicing yourself and the earth is to begin to see this differently. To realize as you experience your own oneness with God through your prayers, through your meditation, through your devotions, through your spiritual practice, you begin to realize you are one with God. And this energy of oneness surrounds you in a certain blessed assurance, a deep, deep peace, a feeling of being in alignment with love, a feeling of being protected, nurtured, guided, and supported. Your fears fall away, and the love that is your essence emerges, for it feels safe. You do this for you in the service of your soul, but you do this also for the earth. For as you vibrate in this way, as you emanate with the energy of the idea, I am one with God, you also emanate with the idea, I am one with God, and so are you. This subtle energy touches everything around you. And when you gather, either in thought or in person, with like-minded individuals, in prayers, in meditations, or in other activities, you magnify this energy of union. You magnify this energy of peace. You magnify this energy of security. You magnify this energy of blessed assurance and certainty. And this energy heals fear. When you gather together in camps of love, the camps of love embrace the camps of fear, the walls of separation dissolve as you dissolve the walls of separation within you. And this is how you can help. We have been exploring recently how the aggrieved male energy of the earth dismisses this as simply singing kumbaya in the face of grave danger. And we would offer that increased danger through escalatory wars doesn't keep you safe. It never has, nor will it ever. So the vastly devalued feminine energy of union, of oneness, of meditation, of receiving, for receiving is the precursor to giving. So as you receive this loving, blessed assurance, this peace, this guidance, this protection, you share it with the earth. And as others feel this blessed assurance, the walls of the camps come tumbling down. Now, how do you make this practical instead of just a theoretical kumbaya moment? You focus on the world, what you would call hot spots, as we have described them, your national elections, the issues with North Korea and the world, the issues with China and the world, the issues between the Ukraine and Russia, the issues in the Middle East. And as you focus the feel the healing light and love of God that you experience in your union with God, as you emanate this light to those parts of your planet, you help them to heal. And do not dismiss the efficacy of these efforts. For one moment of God's grace channeled by you can heal 1,000 hearts. One moment of God's grace channeled by you can heal 1,000 hearts. One moment of God's grace channeled by you can heal 1,000 hearts. So we would ask you right now to lay down your sword and shield as it relates to an oppositional energy that you see on the earth in conflict. It may be the political candidate who is not your choice, that you have believed to be outside of you, that you have believed to be counter to your well being, that you have believed to be a threat. It could be a country that you have learned to fear because of certain actions they have taken or potential actions they could take that would threaten you or the world. Choose, and you, in your mind, know who you choose. They are not your enemy. They are not your threat. They are beings of light who have forgotten what you remember. And as you stand in remembrance, you touch their minds to remember as well. So breathe. 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 And as you fill yourself with light, bring your brother into your light, whether that be a political candidate, a dictator, a country, a political party that causes you to feel threatened. They are your brother. They have forgotten what you remember, that you are one with God. They symbolize that which has been forgotten. And as you sense the light of God within you expanding, that you would know that the light of God within you is all there is and all you are. Just breathe this in and feel this light of God embracing your brother as well. Just breathe. Just breathe. Good. Be not invested in what occurs, for your task is complete, and the rest is up to God and free will. So breathe, knowing that a moment of light can heal 1,000 hearts. Good. And we would then open this session to any questions you might have at this time.
Thank you, Masters. And we have a first question this evening from Reverend Jane Batch. She says, at the Democratic National Convention, which is currently in Chicago, can there be a peaceful handling of the protesters' concerns? And can there be breakthroughs or at least a measurable progress towards a ceasefire to unify Democratic factions?
We would work with this. We find in the channel's consciousness a memory of Chicago 1968 and the confusion and the mayhem and how that affected the politics of your nation in that year. And we find this as a pocket of the fear of history repeating itself. And we would offer the following, for that is the fear at the core of this question, that history would repeat itself, that this violence and this mayhem would thwart the peaceful evolution of humanity. And we would offer the following. First of all, there are several aspects of negotiation that are occurring, and we would give you a view of all of this. There is a great deal of negotiation occurring in the actual, what you call the Middle East, that causes the potential for resolution to be imminent, the potential for a ceasefire to be imminent. Now, a potential is a potential until it occurs. And we are viewing what humans might call a great deal of arm twisting and incentivizing, arm twisting and incentivizing to, we would use human terms here, for you understand these human terms as approximations of the energy. A great deal of arm twisting and incentivizing to push this over the line. That is a what you might call a sports metaphor. There is a great deal of energy and intensity towards this. There is a more clear understanding of the risks of not going in this direction. There are 11th hour protestations that are seen through as negotiation tactics. And so there is a certain possibility. We would not say a likelihood or a probability, but there is a certain possibility that a resolution and a temporary ceasefire is imminent. Now, on the level of your beings in Chicago, there are what you might call high level talks with leaders who have been leading the opposition, leading the protests in opposition to what you might call Israel's incursion and what you might call the Israel's mistreatment of the Palestinians. There are what you might call back channels that are relaying information to convince these beings to protest in ways that would do good and not harm, as opposed to protesting in ways that do more harm than good. And in negotiation is a seat at the table to certain discussions, not public but private, and with updates to, in human terms, mollify the protesters into protests that are productive and protests that avoid unproductive visuals that would counter their objective. And so there is a certain maturity in this process that was not evident in 1968, and thus less of a likelihood of the mayhem or the confusion or the chaos to have a negative effect on the overarching desire for peace. For there is a more of a view of the larger picture now than ever before. And that is what we would say around this question. We would also say that the situation in the Middle East that is inching to temporary resolution that creates the potential for long-term resolution. There are some innovative next day discussions that are occurring. Innovative, for they are inspired by light and not darkness. Meaning that certain structures are being discussed where the world becomes involved in maintaining peace and maneuvering to what might be called a two-state solution. There is a certain degree of discussion that is quite innovative as it relates to involving the world more in this process to diffuse certain enmities between the Israelis and the Palestinians. So look for certain unique approaches to what happens after, for that is, of course, a large concern for all as well. Look for unique approaches where the world itself becomes more involved. And this, we would say, is an indication of a growing consciousness in the world that the world is one. You see, the shift in perception here, the miracle here, the light here, is that countries have often seen themselves as independent sovereign entities. And that is true. What is equally true is that all those boundaries are false. And what is equally true is that there is a great deal of interdependence to the degree that a situation that in human terms boils out of control in one region affects the whole world. So a new balance is being sought and will possibly be achieved where the world realizes its investment in peace throughout the world, empowering previously relatively disempowered entities to support world peace in more active and present ways. And you may see this idea being made manifest in the plans for the Middle East post-conflict, where world entities play a larger role in maintaining peace and what you would call harmony in this region. And this is a model going forward that supports more global stability in other areas as well. For example, as the conflict between the Ukraine and Russia begins to see its resolution, the Ukraine becomes part of a newly empowered NATO. And this newly empowered NATO becomes empowered to the degree that it is a disincentive for additional unrest. It provides a disincentive for additional unrest. And this is how we would answer this question.
Thank you, Masters. And we have a couple of other questions from Reverend Jane Batt. She said about the Ukraine, if the current inclusion into Russia by Ukraine creates a bargaining chip for peace negotiations, where is there the exit ramp for Putin's ego? And the second part of that question is, how can Putin excuse his own defeat and his own insanity in starting the war in the first place?
We would work with this. There is a certain shorthand for this, and certain countries have used this in over time. It is simply the idea of declaring victory and leaving, regardless of what the truth is. And so the what you might call the face-saving exit ramp for Putin is to declare the mission accomplished and withdraw. And by telling that to the Russian people, he buys enough time to, as we see it, as we look into this being is needing to buy time in order to ensure a certain stasis or return to power. This being, in this moment, as we are asked to step into this and to report this to the degree that we are permitted, this being is buying time to maintain some degree of power that this being believes to be under threat. Buying time to shore up internal structures for his protection. And as we see these probabilities in this moment, it is likely that as the being is in this moment feverishly shoring up internal support for a what you might call a soft landing where such an obvious defeat does not turn the wheels of power against him. This being is putting these mechanisms in place, so taking a soft defeat does not endanger him. This being is putting these mechanisms in place right now. And this enables this being to declare victory and leave, declare mission accomplished and leave, regardless of the truth. And the declaration will be, in human terms, sold to the Russian people. You see, they will be told what you have heard from others. Don't believe what your eyes tell you, believe what we tell you instead. Do you understand this?
Yes, we do, Masters. Thank you so very much. We have also a question from Jill this evening, and she writes in, how did the Olympics affect world peace and unity?
We would work with this. Healing comes in waves. And we would offer you the visual, experiential image of waves lapping upon the shore. There are certain mechanisms developed by humans on the earth to offer waves of healing and stasis and stability on the earth. One such mechanism is what you call the Olympics. So, regardless of the turmoil on the earth at any given time, quite often the Olympics occur to, in human terms, beat a drumbeat towards the healing of the earth, regardless of what is happening at any given time. So the Olympics have done what they have needed to do at a very crucial time, which is remind humans of the whatness of humanity and to offer them that template of consciousness and energy upon which to magnify humans' desire for peace. So, in essence, the Olympics this time has been a springboard for the consciousness that would continue to will the world towards peace. This has been their function, and the Olympics have fulfilled this function. And this is what we would say here.
And again, thank you, Masters. And we have no more questions from our viewers. Is there anything else that you would like to share with us this evening?
Yes. Do not dismiss the power of kumbaya. You understand that word to be shorthand for passivity. You understand that word to be shorthand for spiritual practices in the midst of physical threats. You understand that shorthand to be a dismissive way to minimize what you believe the effect of prayer, meditation, mindfulness, and spiritual approaches to be. Do not underestimate the power of kumbaya, for the power of kumbaya will save your planet. So we would impress upon you yet again, as you see your brother not as the other, but as an outpicturing of the wounds that all have come to heal on the earth. You can call forth the light, the love, the healing, the grace, and the transformative energy of God. And as you call forth these energies, they are waiting to be allowed by your free will and by the free will of humanity to heal the broken hearts that would otherwise create such pain on the earth. You have a role to play in this. And as you play your role, do not underestimate your role, for you are spiritual masters. Take a moment to take this in. And we actually have a bonus for you. We are viewing what you call the energy behind what you call the Democratic Convention. And we are finding in the channel's consciousness the energy of a volcano erupting here. And the reason that we are attracted to this energetic image to describe the energy we see is that the eruption of this volcano is an eruption of the consciousness of which we speak. The eruption of an orgasmic outflowing of a consciousness of love, unity, and a new vision for your country and your earth. And it has an effect on all hearts on the earth. And this is what we would say about this as we see the energy building for this. You will see that this experience, not unlike an explicitly spiritual experience, is where hearts come together in openness, in love, in creation, and in manifestation. And it is not just the hearts in physical proximity to the place called Chicago, but it is the hearts of humanity that observe this or are bystanders of this energy. And we see this eruption as we see it in this moment as an eruption of healing love. And just as a volcano, when it erupts, emits ash that affects the whole planet, and you understand this, for you recall Mount St. Helens, and you recall how wildfires emit ash or clouds that affect the whole planet. You know this. So will this eruption of love affect the whole planet in a very similar way. For you recall that certain wildfires recently, though they were thousands of miles away from you, you felt the effects. The earth will feel the effects of this experience, and hearts will be healed and lifted as a result. Fears will be erased, and more love will be anchored on the earth, and more loving outcomes, and certain technological openings that open humanity to more prosperity will occur as a result of this as well. This event has the possibility of causing humanity to turn a corner in terms of consciousness. So it is more than a political event. You may watch for signs of this, and as you do, you might feel your heart opening. You might feel yourself changing. You might feel your vibration being affected by this. And this is what we would say. And before we sign off, we would offer you an opportunity to ask any questions on this.
We have no more questions, Masters. Thank you so very much. Is there a final blessing that you would like to give us?
We would work with this. Take a moment, one and all, to receive the blessing we offer to you and share it with the earth. Be blessed and in God forever. Hey, hey.
Hey,
Help
welcome
me ground
back.
myself. Hey, thank
Welcome
you.
back. So just to let everyone know that uh, uh, Jim announced a new series of classes here last week, and I just want to make sure that everyone knows about them. Jim, why don't you tell everyone about the new classes that are selling out now? Go ahead.
Yes, sure. We came to the earth with a big bag of tricks, just like Santa Claus has this big bag when he goes down the chimney. We brought to the earth this time a lot of karmic baggage. And the reason we brought such a big bag of karmic patterning to heal is because this is the first time on the earth's evolution in a very long time that there has been enough light to heal it. So our souls said, let's bring all this stuff to heal. And when we were punch drunk in that place before we incarnated, we didn't realize what a challenging life that would offer us. But Spirit is here to help us with that now. Spirit is going to guide us through 6 weeks of looking at, healing, and transforming all that past life stuff that we brought to the earth. Looking at, healing, and transforming all the stuff in our DNA memory. And those of you who understand how the racial or ancestral memory in our DNA has been traumatic too, Spirit will help us to heal that trauma so that that trauma no longer outpictures in our lives. And that's for 6 weeks, starting in September, September 9th. In that class, Spirit speaks on healing soul trauma from past lives and from ancestral memories. That class is being uh, coupled with a class for 6 weeks that I'm doing on Thursday nights beginning September 12th, which is deepening your spiritual connection, learning to hear spirit more often, more clearly, more strongly, learning to continue a dialogue with spirit so that spirit, which is simply love, offers you always the blessed assurance and the guidance and the support and the healing that you need at any time. So, this class in spiritual growth and development and creating a deeper connection with spirit can help you live more comfortably, more peacefully, and more abundantly with the guidance of spirit every day. There's a lot more information on these, and these classes do sell out. So, get in contact with me at the number beneath me or on my email, or and we can discuss enrolling you before they sell out. There's also a discount for pre-registration. So that's what I've got going on right now. And look for my book that comes out on September 1st entitled Forgive Your Way to Prosperity.
Yes, and you'll be able to get that book at a very special price if you get it from Kindle. But we'll keep that little secret between us, Jim, for,
Yes.
for a couple more weeks. So
Yes.
again, these classes sell out very quickly. So if you are even thinking about it, please get in contact with Reverend Jim at reverendjimwebb.com. You can also call him at 202 253 6009, or you can send him an email at reverendjimwebb at msn.com.
Yes. And
All right.
let's thank our producer Michael for keeping it all together when all I wanted to do was go out and fall asleep even before doing an
No,
intro.
the masters were wanting to speak. So,
They were anxious to speak to us today. Yeah.
they wanted to speak to us. All right. Well, we're going to wish everyone a very pleasant good night. And again, Jim will be back again this Sunday evening at 8 o'clock Eastern with the miracle of prosperity. For Jim Webb, this is Reverend Michael Mangus. We're going to wish you a very pleasant good night, and we will see you sometime next week.